Because of these expensive things that one has, then one is going to be respected by society. So, in other words, respect comes not from who one is, but respect will come from what one has. In this first chapter, we are introduced to Santiago. Santiago is an old man, old fisherman, and he has gone for many days, 84 days without a catch. We're told that during the first 40 days without a fish, the boy's parents had told him that the old man was now definitely and finally salao, which is the worst form of unlucky. And what is the attitude of his peers? What is the attitude of his fellow fishermen towards him? There are two kinds of people here. You've got the younger fishermen, and the younger fishermen make fun of him, but the old man is not angry. The old man seems unaffected by their attitude towards him. And then you've got the older fishermen, and the older fishermen are probably the same age as he is. They're people who have grown old in the trade together, so they've known him for years. And these, when they now look at him, they say they looked at him and were sad, but they did not show it. Santiago is a man who is not only down in his luck, his body seems to be giving way. We're told the old man was thin and gaunt, with deep wrinkles on the back of his neck and deep scars on his hands from handling the lines of heavy fish. His scars were old as forgotten memories. Everything about Santiago bespeaks an inability to perform because of his physical weakness and because of his age. And yet, we're told, everything about him was old except his eyes. They were the same color as the sea and were cheerful and undefeated. Santiago is undefeated. Santiago is still cheerful. He's optimistic and he still has a lot of hope despite the difficulties that have confronted him. Despite the fact that he has not been able to catch any fish, we're told that his hope and his confidence never left him. Santiago seems to have found himself. He is who he is. He has found that inner confidence that comes with time and that comes with one who no longer admires or no longer gives credence to things that are superfluous. Santiago is a man who has found his authentic self. And when the young boy looks at him and he says to him, "But are you strong enough? Are you strong enough to be able to fish a truly big fish?" And Santiago very simply says to him, "I think so. I know many tricks and I have resolution." That I know many tricks, in other words, he has experience, and I have resolution, in other words, he has determination. And so what are we learning from the old man and from this first chapter? What are we taking away here? That when all else fails, ultimately it is one's character that is going to carry the day. Although he's a bit concerned, you'll notice that he's not very worried because he's falling back on two aspects, and perhaps more that will emerge later on in the story, but he's falling back on who he is as a person, who he has become. In other words, the experience that he has acquired over time and the virtue of hope and tenacity and resolution that he knows he has. And that's another thing. Being humble does not mean that he hides his strengths. Being humble means really knowing himself, knowing what he's capable of. This, my friends, is what we're talking about when we discuss authenticity. Is, in other words, working towards the character, the good characteristics that make up who we are. Why, when you see Santiago going back to his hut, it's a very poor hut. You know, it's basically a few sticks put together. He does not have a mattress, but he has the confidence of a man who knows, I am a good fisherman. If you recall, Veblen talks about luxury items and how through owning and having luxury items of clothing, for example, then when people look upon you, you borrow respectability. Because of these expensive things that one has, then one is going to be respected by society. So, in other words, respect comes not from who one is, but respect will come from what one has. Not who we become, not what the character that we have, but the respect comes because of what we own. And therefore, we are in this life, we have to choose a path. And the first path is the path of authenticity. Am I going to become who I am and then be respected for that? Or am I going to borrow respect by acquiring more and knowing that by these things that I have, people will look at them and they will think that I am clever, that I am successful, and therefore they will accord me respect. And when we meet this old man, you can see that you automatically will respect him if you really know what things are of value. It is no wonder that it is the young boy who really loves him and respects him. And the reason is that the young boy is still not contaminated by the world. The young boy has not yet learned how to look at these superfluous things. He obviously is able to recognize genuine. He's able to recognize real things when he sees them. And therefore, he's attracted to this old man because he can sense this authenticity in the old man.